David Orf. I arrived at Youth for Tomorrow in 2019, the beginning of 2019, January 7th was my first day here, and I left July 14th of the same year.
David, where'd you grow up? Tell us a little bit about your background before we hear your story.
I grew up in Annandale, Virginia, and I went to a little preschool there, and I also went, and then I moved with my mom to Leesburg when I was about 5 or 6, where I met my father, and they got married, and yeah, it's been I've lived in Loudoun for a while, but then I moved back to Annandale for a bit.
What brought you to Youth for Tomorrow? What were the circumstances for you coming to the home?
Just drugs. I did drugs, mostly marijuana and cocaine.
And at the time of your arrival here, what were your expectations? Where did you think you were going, and what were your first impressions?
I knew I was going to a good place. Well, before I was at another like home, like a little like shelter for a little bit, where I actually like decided that I would get clean, um, because Christmas Day, um, I was told I wasn't going to go home for Christmas while I was at the shelter, but my family surprised me and picked me up, and they just gave me a check card for $500, and I was super surprised that they did that because I thought that my parents hated me, but I knew I always had the support of my grandmother. But the fact that this came from my parents, I went back to the shelter the next night, and I came to the realization that I didn't want to use drugs anymore. I just so then the next after I left there, I came immediately here, and I was just gonna make the best of the situation, and yeah.
So you kind of knew you had goals when you arrived here. What was the process after you moved into Youth for Tomorrow? When did you kind of figure out that this was a place that was going to help you?
Just the support of the people here. Everyone is friendly. The staff are funny. Everyone's here friendly, and they really do mean well. Dr. Tinsley is amazing. He's an amazing guy. Dr. Jones, because I still made mistakes here. I was still a little bit of a feisty person, and yeah, I wouldn't say outright disrespect, but I would do maybe some disrespectful things, and they just they showed mercy, and it really showed me that they cared. They really care for people here.
So understanding and love, would you say those are some of the cornerstones here, and how did they factor into what you needed at the time?
Yeah, the Dr. Tinsley, it was someone to vent to. When I don't really get stressed out easily, but it was someone. So I wasn't like stressed here like some of the other people, but I definitely would have those like, man, I like these people are getting like kind of crazy, and like I need to just talk to someone about it. And Dr. Tinsley is really good with that. Um, uh, Love, I just thought I didn't really have the support of my parents, but they would come visit me when they could before COVID hit. So I think overall, I think both those factors were met here.
The youth home is built on godly principles. How did that figure into your development as a man, and your process as you came through Youth for Tomorrow?
Good. I like going to church on Sundays. Pastor Hub is a great guy and very understanding, and I told him about some of the people in my family that struggle with addiction and just who are not in a good place right now, and he actually wrote them down on a paper on like his prayer list, and then we prayed for all of them together, and he said he'll continue to pray for these people. So yeah, he was a good support.
So would you say Pastor Hub fit a position in your life that might have been missing, or the timing for him to come into your life was important?
I had a lot. There's like 3 pastors at my normal church, but he's another pastor that also made a big impact. All like pastors that stick out to me, like they all make an impact on my life, and I try to stay in touch with them.
What was your feelings? What were your feelings upon departure, and what were some of the first steps after you left the youth home?
Well, departure came kind of quick because I caught COVID. I was the first one in my house to catch in um, the Courage House
Right
to
next
catch
door.
COVID. Yeah, right. To catch COVID, and and I woke up and I just felt really bad, and so I told someone, I forgot who it was. I told one of the staff members about my symptoms, and they called another staff member who had it earlier, but it was gone, so he came back, and he told me that you might have COVID. And I got tested and I had COVID, and that was the last time I was here.
Wow.
Yeah, I got off, and then they sent me my at the front 2 weeks later after I was clear. They got me all my stuff, and yeah,
That was it.
That was it.
I mean, did you feel like you had unfinished business here, or was it
I wanted to
just
say goodbye to everyone, like proper goodbyes, because I knew I was going to leave at the end of July, so I almost had, or like beginning of August, so I knew like my time was like almost up. But I was supposed to leave, I think August 7th was my last.
so your life has moved forward, and you will be serving our country. What was the thought process behind that, and tell us what you're doing now?
Well, I actually found out what I wanted to do because of Dr. Tinsley. I would talk to him about why I use drugs and everything, and how I would describe it to him. He said that I have a very I get bored really really easily, and I told him that I just don't see myself having a successful like career with like a sit down desk job, or like I need to be like doing something exciting that makes my heart race, like how drugs did. So and so he mentioned military, and I was like, yeah, military could work, and and then after I left, I was really like, okay, I want to talk to a recruiter and really figure out because I like working out, I like keeping my body in shape, and I like being really active. I like so I talked to a recruiter, and then I joined the Army.
It's fantastic, and you're in it for a career.
Yes, sir.
And what are some of your expectations? What are you most looking forward to?
Jumping out of a plane.
Are you excited about that?
I'm really
Huh?
excited about that.
Have you done it yet?
I have not. I will jump out of my plane the end of March, beginning of April.
And that'll be part of your Ranger training.
Yes, yes, sir.
You are to be commended, sir, for finding something that is important to you, and of course it's important to us as well, because you'll be defending our country. Is there any advice to kids that might find themselves in the same position you were in, who might be using drugs, or maybe some other issue in their life that has caused them to maybe consider where they're headed?
Yeah, a lot when I was here, a lot of kids here just kind of they didn't really. There were kids here that did take it seriously, and then there were other kids here that did kind of both, and then there were kids here that didn't take it seriously at all, and they just found themselves in a heap of trouble. And they're probably still living the same lifestyle. A couple of them I still talk to, so the opportunity to come here is it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I would just say take it seriously, but at the same time you can also have your fun. The staff members will have fun with you. They're not all like you do this, you do that, you do this. Like they can have fun with you. So yeah, you can take it seriously, but at the same time you can also have fun here as well, which I think is a good healthy like balance, I believe. Yeah, just don't take it for granted.